Have you ever wondered why some people still suffer from heart attacks even though they eat healthily and exercise regularly? The scary truth is, there are small, repeated habits you might be doing every day that are silently weakening your heart. After years of gathering insights from top heart surgeons, we've uncovered the 7 worst daily habits that almost every older heart patient has in common. And no, this isn't just about genetics or age. In today's video, you'll discover the truth behind seemingly harmless choices that are actually the silent killers of your heart. Subscribe to our channel and watch until the end, because just one small change today could save your life tomorrow. Sounds simple, right? But that's exactly the hidden reason why many older patients end up in the operating room. According to several heart surgeons, they're increasingly seeing that prolonged inactivity is a slow-acting poison for the heart, and it's so common that they can often guess who lives a sedentary lifestyle just by observing the signs of damage in the heart and blood vessels. You might be thinking, but I'm not sitting all day. I just watch the morning news, have lunch, then watch a little TV before bed. But when you add it all up, these habits can keep you sitting for over 8 hours a day without you even realizing it. When you sit too long, blood flow slows down, veins are under pressure, your muscles stop contracting to support the heart, and your insulin levels drop. Many people assume that a morning workout is enough, but your heart doesn't just need 1 hour of activity. It needs a gentle, steady flow throughout the entire day. Modern studies have consistently shown that even people who exercise regularly in the morning still face a high risk of heart disease if they remain sedentary for the rest of the day. Doctors call this phenomenon sitting disease. And it's not about weight or age, but about the state of your microcirculation. An aging heart may not be strong enough to pump blood effectively through legs that stay still for hours on end. And the result? Fatigue, numb legs, high blood pressure, chest pain, subtle signs many people ignore until it's too late. I once heard a doctor share a story about a man named Robert, 73 years old, who retired after decades of office work. After retirement, he spent most of his days watching movies, reading books, or playing Sudoku. He told his doctor, "It's not like I'm doing anything dangerous. I'm just sitting." But that quiet stillness accumulated and slowly weakened his heart. When he came to the hospital complaining of breathlessness after walking just a few steps, the doctor discovered signs of congestive heart failure, not because of his diet, not because of genetics, but because his body had stopped moving with the natural rhythm of the heart. So, what should we do? You don't need to sign up for a gym membership. In fact, simply standing up and walking gently for a few minutes every hour is enough to boost circulation and help your heart work more efficiently. You can set hourly reminders, or just stand up when changing TV channels, making tea, getting water, or tending to your garden. These simple movements, repeated regularly, act like an over-the-counter heart remedy. Also, don't underestimate the benefits of walking after meals. Many heart surgeons recommend their patients take a 10 to 15-minute walk after dinner, a small habit that helps lower blood sugar, reduces strain on the heart, aids digestion, and calms the mind. You should also know that physical activity isn't just good for your heart, it's good for your mind. Many seniors report that after incorporating gentle midday movement, like walking, stretching, or light mobility exercises, they not only feel physically better, but sleep more soundly, feel less anxious, and even feel younger. One doctor once said, "Movement is the language the heart understands best. If you stay silent for too long, it will stop listening to you." If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, don't think it's too late to make a change. Your heart is still listening to what you do every day. And the best thing you can do for it is to let it move with you, even if it's just one small step at a time. If you found what I've shared here valuable, comment the number 3 below to let me know you're still watching. It not only shows me you care, but it gives me the motivation to keep creating helpful content like this. And if you haven't hit subscribe and turned on notifications, do it now so you won't miss the upcoming videos that'll help you care for your heart, your health, and your longevity in the simplest and most genuine way. Although you may not feel there's anything serious about spending a lot of time sitting and resting each day, especially after turning 70, cardiologists see a different, clearer, and far more dangerous picture. They call it the silent killer, prolonged inactivity without gentle circulation to awaken the cardiovascular system. What's concerning is that it's not because you lack the energy to move. It's because your body gradually becomes accustomed to being still. It learns to adapt to stillness, and the price for that adaptation is your heart. Frank, a retired accountant at 75, used to think that spending the afternoon reading was a well-earned reward after years of hard work. But what he didn't know was that while he was peacefully enjoying his book, the blood in his legs was slowing down. That sluggish circulation didn't cause pain, didn't trigger any alarms, but it gradually robbed his blood vessels of their flexibility, forcing his heart to pump harder to keep other organs alive. It was a quiet battle Frank didn't even know he was fighting, until he suddenly fainted one sunny afternoon due to a sharp drop in blood pressure. Frank's story isn't rare. In fact, many older adults fall into prolonged periods of stillness thinking it's perfectly natural. They spend hours watching TV, knitting, or doing crossword puzzles, seemingly harmless activities that lack the necessary blood flow stimulation. A study from Harvard once found that standing up and walking lightly every 30 minutes can significantly reduce the risk of heart disease in people over 65. No complex workouts or expensive equipment are required. Just stepping out to the balcony, watering a few plants, or pacing around the house while doing some joint rotations can make a big difference for your heart. You see, your heart doesn't need you to run a marathon at 75. It just needs you to move, to keep blood circulating, to keep your vessels flexible, to make sure your brain gets enough oxygen and your muscles don't waste away. Imagine your heart as a water pump for an entire garden. If you keep the pump running but never open the hose, pressure builds up inside, the valves weaken, and the water won't reach the plants that need it. And do you know what's ironic? Most people with severe heart conditions were actually too good at resting. They weren't lazy, they simply didn't realize that sitting still is a choice, and that choice is having consequences. So change that habit, not to become an athlete at 80, but to give your heart a chance to keep serving you for many more years. Every time you stand up from a chair, it's like saying to your body, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I choose to live fully, not just exist. And your heart will recognize that message with each steady, persistent beat, not loud, but deeply grateful. We often think of eating as a response to hunger. But for many older adults, eating is no longer about an empty stomach. It's about filling a void, loneliness, boredom, sadness, or anxiety. There's nothing wrong with wanting a little comfort from your favorite food. But when food becomes the only way to soothe emotions, your heart is the one that pays the price first. Foods high in sugar, fat, and salt provide a temporary sense of satisfaction, like a soft lullaby, but underneath, they raise your blood pressure, cholesterol, and insulin levels. Over time, this contributes to heart failure, diabetes, and atherosclerosis. Sadly, few people realize why they're eating this way until their doctor gives them a warning. A 73-year-old woman once shared that she often ate 3 times in the evening, not out of hunger, but because of the emptiness in her too quiet home. No more sound of her husband coughing, no more TV playing as he made tea. She ate to feel like something was happening. Each bite was a silent form of comfort, until she had to be rushed to the hospital due to a sudden spike in blood pressure. Emotional eating isn't weakness. It's a natural human reaction. But if we don't recognize it, it becomes a silent cycle slowly poisoning the heart. The solution isn't to force yourself onto a strict diet or blame yourself. It's learning to pause in that moment and ask, what am I really needing right now? Maybe it's someone checking in, a phone call, a short walk, a deep breath, and a quiet moment sitting with yourself. You have every right to feel, but your heart also deserves the right kind of tenderness. Habit 9. Social isolation, not because anyone forced you, but because you've forgotten yourself. Old age shouldn't be a time to retreat, but a time to open up to what truly matters. Yet many people, after a few losses, a few goodbyes, or simply out of not wanting to be a burden, start to withdraw, bit by bit. A declined invitation, a missed phone call, a whole year passing without stepping out onto a familiar street. And then isolation becomes a habit. A long silence, like a fog slowly covering the heart, not loud, not obvious, but cold and creeping. Did you know? Many studies have shown that social isolation can be just as harmful to the heart as smoking. It raises stress hormones, disrupts sleep, slows recovery from illness, and gradually weakens your heart, both literally and emotionally. I remember an older man who once said, "I used to have friends, neighbors. But then my wife passed away, my children moved out, and I felt like no one really needed me anymore." But the truth is, we always have value, even if no one reminds us of it every day. Reconnecting doesn't have to be a grand gesture. A conversation with your regular vegetable vendor. Joining a book club at the local library. A message to an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. These small connections don't just warm the heart, they help it beat stronger and steadier. Habit 10. Not forgiving and holding on to what once broke your heart. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing. It means freeing your heart from a burden it no longer needs to carry. But it's easy to hold on to pain, disappointments, unspoken words. And over time, those things build up, not in memory, but in the body. You may not remember the exact words that hurt you years ago, but your heart does. It records them in tightness, in quiet pain at night, in irregular rhythms when you revisit the past. Cardiac surgeons have said, there are patients whose blood vessels they can heal, but not their broken hearts. And that's what slows down recovery, not the physical, but the emotional weight still being carried. You don't have to forgive for others to find peace. You forgive so you can find peace. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, so your heart can be lighter, more at ease, and have space for something new to enter. You're still here reading these words. That tells me you care about your health, your heart, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. And I want to say, you're on the right path. Leave a comment with the number 4 if you're still here, if something in these words has touched you. And if you'd like to continue on this journey with us, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.